Hey friends, Eric the Mind Control Guy again. Part 2 of my other video. For some reason, when I was recording, I get these pop-up, very irritating pop-up advertisements, and it cut my video off. And I spoke another 10 minutes or so and didn't realize my video had been cut off. So anyway, I'm going to pick up where I left off. I was talking about when I was getting my memory back and the things I saw when they had me in these other projects. Uh, I believe some had to do with remote viewing or etheric body or whatever, time travel. And what I saw. And what I saw was this planet that we all live on and share end up becoming our solar system's second asteroid belt. Mm-hmm. And we already have one asteroid belt that used to be a planet between Jupiter and Mars. And I don't buy the BS that we've been fed for years that gravity pulled that planet apart. Jupiter and Mars had a tug of war and pulled the planet apart. I don't buy that nonsense at all. I'm convinced that that planet was inhabited at one time. And all you trolls out there, I don't give a wombat shit what you jackasses think. You know, you can just go on and prance around and do all your troll stuff. Any of your troll comments put here, you're going to get your ass kicked to the curb. I'm not tolerating trolls. I despise trolls. But anyway, I'm convinced that that planet, just like ours, was inhabited at one time and got too big for their britches and they blew their planet apart. And the powers that be behind the scenes, all they want to do is come up with more and more and more destructive devices. You know, like, I'm convinced that they have explosive devices out there that made the ones that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the Second World War appear to be firecrackers by comparison. The nuclear age has advanced so far beyond what they had in World War II that if a nuclear war goes off, this planet, like I said in my last video, is so fragile, so fractured, that in the wrong places, these things blow, and maybe one goes off in the Yellowstone caldera, the supervolcano, and just basically turns the United States as we know it, at least most of it, into a wasteland. And there are other supervolcanoes on this planet. There are lots of volcanoes on this planet. But if they have some of these nuclear missiles and rockets and bombs go off, just a whole mess of them at one time all over the country, what's to say they're going to have one in some strategic location? Lob one down in some strategic location like the San Andreas Fault in California. Now, we've been hearing for as long as we can remember about California having a big earthquake sliding off its shelf, tectonic shelf, and slide into the Pacific Ocean, like was shown in the movie from years ago called 2012. And all these cataclysmic events. And I'm thinking, you know, I remember seeing back when all this was coming back, I remember seeing a situation where a whole bunch of just humongous nuclear devices by some terror group when I was getting my memory back, and I was seeing this stuff like as clear as day here. But they had either secretly put or were allowed to put a whole bunch of these humongous destructive nuclear devices. Like I say, that made the ones dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki seem to be firecrackers by comparison. But I remember seeing there was about 2,500 of them that were put down inside the San Andreas Fault. And then all at once, from the air, they were detonated. You can only imagine what happened then. And I also saw that a whole bunch of these things was being transported in a ship. And something happened and the ship sank. Down inside the, what was it, the Marianas Trench. Like 2,500 of things at once going down there. And all at once, these 2,500 that were in a ship hull all blew at the same time. And what I saw, as clear as day, and I'm looking at y'all straight in the eye when I'm saying that. I'm not rubbing my nose. I'm not looking off into space. No. What I saw when these events happened, especially the one where they went down the Marianas Trench, and parts of this world that we all live in is so fractured. What I saw, that it caused a chain reaction of events. And in less than 48 hours, this planet that we all share became our solar system's second asteroid belt. That's what I saw. And like I mentioned in my last video, I think I mentioned it in the last video, unless maybe I got cut off, but this movie here, Alternative 3. What is the meaning behind Alternative 3? And that pseudo-documentary came out in 1977. The meaning behind it, get the hell off this planet while there's still time. And that cover from that album Boston that came out in 1976, I just looked it up on Google, where it had these guitars kind of modified from the old Star Trek movie, Star Trek Enterprise. And they kind of looked like spaceships, and there were several of them that were flying away, and behind them was the planet Earth exploding. Why would they have that? Now, a lot of bands are, they have a lot of bands out there that are very intelligent people. Some are into fantasy. There's a certain amount of them into history, sci-fi. But that has been thought of for quite some time. This movie series here came out in 1968. There was 5 of them from the theater. The original Planet of the Apes movie, when they have 3 of them, they call them a trilogy. When they make 5 of them, I don't know what they call them, but there was 5 theater movies. In the 3rd one, called Escape from the Planet of the Apes, were these 3 apes, 3 chimpanzees, doctors in the movie, where they managed to get the ship repaired, that the American astronauts came in and got propelled into the future. Time warp. And they got the ship repaired, and they got it to fly away. As they were leaving the atmosphere, or maybe past the atmosphere, there was a nuclear bomb, doomsday bomb, that was set off. It was detonated. And as they flew out of the atmosphere, they turned around and looked, and the Earth exploded. It blew the planet apart. This isn't nothing, this concept is nothing new. And some jackwad on Reddit was over a year ago when Miss Connie Willis had me on as a guest. And then I started looking on the net, see if, this ended up being out there, the interview I had. And immediately the trolls came out of the woodwork and started attacking me, ridiculing me, telling me I was some wannabe sci-fi writer and everything. Dude, F you. Okay? You freaking arrogant trolls can go F yourself. I was not some sci-fi writer. I was involved in things when I was in the military that I didn't even know about at the time. And then years later, I started getting my memory back. And then I started meeting people, 3 of them who remembered me from those days. One of them was my late friend, Sergeant Gray. And then other guys I met who were in military intelligence or special forces, who was a security personnel. And these people that I met that were in military intelligence was verifying what I was saying. Now, I don't give a rat's ass if you arrogant trolls believe it or not. I could care less. Go back to watching reruns of Jerry Springer. That's more your speed anyway. But, yeah. And now with this stuff going on in Israel and the Middle East, and every day I keep talking about, getting closer and closer to nuclear war. For many years now, everybody wanted nukes. Everybody wanted nukes. Everybody in the Middle East wanted nukes. The U.S. had them for years. Soviet Union had them for years. Then Korea wanted them. China wanted them. Pakistan wanted them. Israel wanted them. Iran wanted them. Everybody wanted nukes. What happens when you have that many firecrackers go off at the same time in strategic areas? Chances are, if things are going the way they are, if things keep going the way they are, I'll be 58 next month. It's 2023, October. The way things are going now, I might not live to see retirement. None of us will. The little ones, the toddlers, the babies who are being born, the little kids being born into what's going on right now, and if the long-held prophecy of there will be World War III and not just conventional war like has been in the past, not like, with muskets and bayonets and stuff like that, or, M16s or M1 Garands, no, but nuclear weapons that can completely destroy the planet or make it so uninhabitable it could end up being just another desolate wasteland because of what's going on in Israel right now, in the Middle East in general. Over what? Because somebody in their damn religion? Or is it because you have individuals within some of these so-called intelligence agencies that are always stirring up trouble, stir up trouble, stir up trouble? Keep the war machine going somewhere so the war profiteers can keep getting richer and richer and richer. How freaking rich do you need to be? I mean, the munitions that can blow the planet up. And they don't care. All they see is money. But if you blow the planet up, you ain't going to live to see it. And what's money anyway? Purchasing power. That's it. That's all it is. Gold. What does gold do? Gets dust and fingerprints and exchanges hands if that's even allowed. That's all. But anyway, I had to really vent today. I had to really vent. And like I say, my video cut off last time because some damn, these advertisement pop-ups I keep getting. I try to delete them and they come right back. So, but, you know, we have the potential of Red Dawn. And like, I don't think I got a chance to mention it in the last video because I got cut off. But in 1986, this movie here, which I showed before, America spelled with a K, 12-hour miniseries. You can watch it on YouTube today. Ah, crap. But anyway, I'm also going to show you the book. I put that in there wrong. Oh, well. I'm also going to show you the book because they did put something in this book that they did not put in the movie. That's the book. If you can find it on Amazon or eBay. If you can find it. And I've made 2 videos on this. One when I first started my channel over 10 years ago. And then here within the last year, I did it again. And I read the prologue from this book here. Like I say, there's something in that book that they did not put in that movie. And now, for some years now, we keep hearing about the term EMP. You know, where they explode these huge bombs above the atmosphere and it evaporates the grid, wipes out the grid. Well, when I was in the service back in the 80s, never heard that. Never heard that for years. And then years later, I think it was even after the Y2K scare, which was real, and they sped up computers and they found out the computers did shut down, turn to zero, and everything shut off. And that's why they went into overdrive to try and repair the computers or fix the computers so when they hit 00, all the computers wouldn't shut off. Y2K was real. Forget what the trolls say. The swaggering, arrogant skeptics that make an effort not to believe in anything, forget those morons. But they fixed Y2K before it could happen. Well, fast forward some years later, you start hearing about EMP, electromagnetic pulse. What's that? Explode huge bombs, probably nuclear bombs, neutron bombs, whatever, way up in the atmosphere. According to that book, I think it was 200 miles above the United States, or the Pacific, Mountain, Central, and Eastern. Evaporated the grid. And then that's when the invasion happened. In the remake of the 1984 movie Red Dawn, they showed that, an EMP, blackout, complete blackout. And what happened? Then the invasion came. Very possible. We keep hearing about it. We get it driven in our ear and out our ass every damn day. It's very, very possible. And I don't think it's scare tactics. I think it's forewarning us about the potential of what's going to happen. Now, the invasion of the United States by communist forces is nothing new. This video right here, 1952, Invasion USA. I've had this one for many years. It used to ride around with me in my rig back when I used to have a TV VCR player. And so it kind of got a little roughed up. You can watch this on YouTube today. Invasion USA 1952. That is not this 1990 version with Mr. Chuck Norris in it. Same name, different movie. And anyway, it shows in that 1952 movie the country being invaded. It's like, wow, we keep talking about, you know, the economic system, the economic crash. And, of course, Bidenomics, how's that working out for you, for those that voted for him? Some places, hell, are you liking that $5, $6 gas? It was about, what, a year and a half ago up in Washington State, $9 a gallon. How are you liking that? Bidenomics, right? You can't even get a grocery cart full of groceries. So I'd spend less, what, $300-400, depending on where you live. Hell, I get just a little of nothing, $50. I try to get a few groceries, it's well over $100. Oh yeah, Bidenomics, right? We talk about the financial system. How can you be, 33 or how many trillion dollars in debt, yet also you can afford to just give out endless, countless billions of dollars in foreign aid? Foreign aid needs to stop. Our infrastructure is going to pieces. Crime is through the stratosphere. And all this idiot in Washington wants to do is keep giving away working people's money. At the same time, you got an organized crime group called the Internal Revenue Service that say, we need more of your money. We need more of your money. You need to do your duty. Go to hell. They're nothing but organized crime. Anyway, got off track. They talk about the crash coming for a long time. This 1994 documentary here that I have called The Crash, and you can watch that on YouTube today as well, put out by a company called Jeremiah Films. Now, there are a variety of documentaries by the same name. So when you go to YouTube to look at it, you have to type in The Crash, The Coming Financial Collapse of America, Jeremiah Films. That's what you'd have to type in to see it. When I saw that movie in 1994, I had seen horror movies. I've seen slasher movies. I've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, inspired by real events. As opposed to what we've been talked about. It wasn't, not talked about. Opposed to what we've been told, it was not about Ed Gein. I talked to some folks in Texas that told me, yeah, it actually happened in Round Rock. But trying to find anything on it, good luck. I think everything was removed from the old newspapers, the archives, and all that. It's one of those things people don't want to think about. Freaks out there cutting people up with chainsaws and eating them. That's just gruesome. But I knew a guy, I used to run with a guy years ago. He was a police officer years ago in Oklahoma. And some of these old slasher movies from the 70s and early 80s, he said, some of these ones, like the original Friday the 13th, they said, yeah, that was inspired by real events. And of course, Hollywood, they get it all twisted up and everything. But a lot of these old slasher movies, yeah, they're inspired by things that really happened. But we all know how really good the media and other sources are about keeping this information from the people. I always revert back to the Men in Black movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, the original one. And when Will Smith starts discharging his weapon, Noisy Cricket, a little piece about that big, and Tommy Lee Jones said, hey, we do not discharge these weapons in front of civilians. And Will started flying off the handle about, we got this, we got that. And he goes, look, he rattles off Agent J, or Agent K, the senior agent, rattles off a few events. And he said, look, there's always some force out there trying to wipe out life on this one miserable little planet. But the only way the people here get on with their happy little lives is they do not know about it. And I'm convinced that there have been countless events happen over the years. And it doesn't have to be, a threat from, somewhere out there. It could be threats from right here where we all live. The movie that came out many years ago is called The Sum of All Fears. And I knew a guy who had been around the world of intelligence for a long time. He was actually an MK Ultra survivor. And I said, asking him about the events that happened in the movie Sum of All Fears. And when I asked him this was probably 15 years ago or so. I said, has anything like that ever actually happened? He said 5 times that I know of. Didn't elaborate, didn't go into detail. But things like the sum of all fears, yeah, goes on. There could be stuff going on all over. But that doesn't mean that it's going to get reported and make your televisions at night. Doesn't mean it's going to make the internet. Some of these folks get things from what they call alternative news sources that's not on mainstream. Or if they do report the same story, it's like night and day. But anyway, I'm getting kind of long-winded here. But I needed to finish up what I was saying before, after my video cut off because of these pop-up commercials that come in and just cut my video off. But yeah, everything that we're seeing day in and day out looks like we could very well be coming into the long-held prophecy of a third world war, and not a conventional war, but a nuclear war, because a lot of the big countries now have them, and they're looking for any excuse to use them. If they don't have any problem taking a toddler and putting a noose around his neck and hanging him from a bridge or from a railing, if they don't have any problem cutting off people's heads on camera, if they don't have problem throwing acid into a lady's face just because she showed her face on, just because she didn't have her face covered, if some Islamic cleric don't have any problem stopping a woman on the streets because she had the wrong color jacket on, given some 7 or 10 minute load of bullshit, whatever he said, made her get on her knees, pull out a big old revolver, and then blow her brains out right there. And everyone, all those Muslim guys are laughing about it, thinking it's fun and games, just another day in a big city in the world of Islam. You don't think those bastards would have any problem setting off nukes in any place on this planet? All kinds of strategic places that could do untold damage. Dams that hold back water, nuclear facilities, the Yellowstone caldera, volcanoes around the world. These bastards would have no problem with it. They have no problem strapping bombs on 4-year-old kids. These bastards, they have no conscience. Like I said, when I got my memory back, I saw visions of our planet becoming our solar system's second asteroid belt. Your guess is as good as mine about what's going to happen. Unless there's divine intervention, I can see it all happening. There's no doubt in my mind that if there is some kind of intervention that prevents it from happening, I'm convinced that what I saw could very, very well happen in our time. If it doesn't make our planet, our solar system's second asteroid belt, it could make this planet uninhabitable, turn it into a wasteland to where there is no clean air to breathe, no clean water to drink, and everything would just die a desolate wasteland. This place would be a desolate wasteland, uninhabitable, everybody would die. But the elites, they would make sure that they could get the hell off this planet while there's still time. And what I've shown you here today, the movie Alternative 3, Invasion USA 1952, The Crash, and even this miniseries, 12 Hours Long America, spelled with a K, can be watched on YouTube. The movies, The Planet of the Apes, you probably have to rent them on YouTube or buy them, or go to another source that you can actually watch them, or just get them off of Amazon. But this book here, Invasion America by Alan D. Wing. When I got done reading that, it only took me 2 days to read it, and as you could tell, it's a fairly thick book, and I'm a slow reader, but it was just a page turner for me. I was very, very withdrawn when I got done. And of what I've been hearing the last day or so, if the sleeper cells in this country get triggered and are given a green light, God have mercy on the people of this country, and I dare say even Canada. Thanks for listening. Earth and Mind Control Guy, signing off.